Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
And I'm Hector.
How are you, man?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, cool.
Doing good. Just came back from Minnesota.
That's right. What were you doing up there?
Doing a street painting. There was a Arbor Lakes Chalk Fest up there. So
oh, cool.
It was about I think 30 artists roughly.
Right.
And
nice.
Up and down the street. Yeah. So like three blocks.
Didn't some guy give you a load of crap about not using chalk?
There was a guy, just a random guy. I mean, the place was it was just super crowded, just people walking up and down, and they talk to the artist and they ask you all the typical questions. This is all chalk, so they're like, what do you do if it rains, and don't you feel bad about it washing away, and blah blah blah, and all the typical questions. But this jackhole comes by and he starts talking to the other artist next to me. And he was using chalk, and I was using tempera paint. Now, the reason I use tempera paint as opposed to chalk in a case like that is because my piece was 3D interactive.
Yeah.
Which means that people have to actually sit on it. Now, if I use chalk and you sit on it, well, then you're going to stain your clothes.
Yeah.
So I use the tempera paint. It dries. It still washes away. It's no big deal. It's still, it's essentially the same thing as chalk. It's just in a liquid form, and it dries. So you can sit on it, touch it, walk on it. It's not that big of a deal. This idiot walks by and he's talking to the other guy next to me, and he's like, you're a real artist, man. I commend you. He's like, you're using chalk, and that's way more difficult, and you can get a lot more detail, and you're not you're not painting like this guy over here. That's not real art to me, and this isn't a painting festival. It's a chalk festival. And he just went on and on and on, and would talk to anybody that would listen. He went on to the next person and the next person, and I could hear him all the way down the block. And every time he was talking about chalk versus paint, he would point back at me and use me as the example. So apparently I'm not a real artist.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry.
It sucks. Dude, it sucked. It sucked. I just wanted to pop him one.
It's really annoying. I did this cool thing on last Thursday morning. Carl, who you've had on the podcast, Carl Schmidt, he had me come and do this thing for the ARC Center, or ARC Center, in Gardens. And it was really great. It was like a morning concert for people who can't go to concerts, like disabled people and stuff. And I had such a blast, man. They were all dancing in the aisles and everything.
I think I saw a video somebody posted or something. And man, they looked like they were having a blast.
Yeah. It's called Grace Notes Project, the thing that he runs. And I just think it's such a great idea, like bringing music to people who don't usually get the opportunity to go and watch it, for, any number of reasons, like they physically can't get there, or like a bar environment is too like overstimulating or something like that.
Sure.
So it was just, it was really cool. I'm really glad to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Totally. Yeah, everybody looked happy. They were all dancing. Everybody had smiles. So it was a good thing, man. Yeah,
I feel like one of the kind of great things that sort of come out of my little recovery journey is that I've linked up with Carl to do this stuff, and get together rehabs and things. And it's, I wasn't before, but I am getting paid now. But really, I'd still do it if I wasn't. I mean, don't tell Carl that, but because it just it gives. I know I'm just telling the entire world, but it really just sort of gets a real feel good feeling. It's
great.
Man.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah, totally. Well, we have Stevie Stubborn with us today. How's it going, man?
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So we have a mutual friend, Andy, who turned me on to you.
He was with you guys last week, right?
Yeah, that's it, yeah. How do you know Andy?
I met his brother, actually, first, Ryan. But we just jamming, playing music together and that kind of
really
thing.
Cool. Yeah, because
kind of developed into a friendship. And
yeah, nice. Yeah, he's cool. I've been playing in a band with him for a few years now. Yeah. My name's Kava. He's a cool kid, man. Absolutely. And I knew him before that because I've spent untold hours in propaganda, and that's pretty much his.
That was the stomping ground.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I hung out with him a little bit before that, but getting to know him in the band has been really fun, man. He's a genuine guy and he's a good musician.
Funny as hell too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Goofball for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So we got a kind of a list of questions we ask pretty much everyone who comes on the show, and the first one is.
Boxers or briefs?
Neither.
Sweet. Come on. All right, well, that's that answered.
We need to add that as a question.
So, what's the... how did you first start playing music, and was the environment when you were young conducive to it?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I've always had like a draw to it, even at a young age, and you know, my parents were always supportive of that. My mom especially, she had me, she had me playing piano by the time I was like 9, 10 years old, and it kind of eventually developed into, something that I wanted to do more than just like as a hobby, you know. At a professional level, it's actually kind of funny. It was like a happy accident how I got involved with it. I had gotten into a really bad car accident, and I broke my finger. I couldn't play guitar for a while.
This has happened to like quite a lot of people who come on the show.
It was like an 8-month thing. I had it wrapped up. I couldn't even touch a guitar for a while.
Oh wow!
And when I finally got out of it, the band I was playing at the time, they were like, well, sorry, dude, you can't play with this anymore because you can't play guitar. So. Yeah.
And, I mean, it's kind of fair enough on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I got it. I wasn't upset about it or anything. I mean, I was upset about it, but
yeah,
and then so one of my buddies who was a singer, I ended up hanging out with him. And I was just like, I just want to play some music. Like you sing, I'll play some acoustic guitar. We'll see what comes out of it, And I parked illegally on accident at his place. And these guys come with their tow truck to tow my car. And we were on his balcony, so I could see it happening, And so I'm running out there. I'm like, no, please, don't tow my car.
Been there.
So we ended up talking with these guys. We like start getting friendly with them and stuff because they're like, they're pretty cool about like me just moving my car, not whatever else. And they're like, hey, you should come back to the towing yard with us. There's a recording studio next to the towing yard. And we're like, me and this is my buddy Josh, and we're like, yeah, sure. I mean, we ain't got nothing going on tonight, Like let's go humor this, see what's gonna happen. So we walk into the studio. It was like kind of warehouse, like industrial setting. Didn't really expect much from the outside, but then we walk in and we start seeing all these plaques on the wall and stuff. And we're like, what is this place? It turns out it's J-Rock Studio.
Oh, wow.
We used to do like a lot of stuff with Trick Daddy and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so we did a couple records with him. And this, I was in my early 20s at this point. And kind of one thing led to another. And,
Excellent.
Yeah. That was the start of it, anyways. But
well, getting back further than that, did you have music lessons when you were a kid?
I took very briefly guitar lessons. That was pretty much. Other than that, I've been fairly self-taught.
Right. And in terms of your parents and stuff, were they music fans? Was there a lot of music around the house?
My mom especially. My dad wanted me to play sports.
Right,
he really wanted. He was a big basketball guy, so I was definitely doing that as well, like in high school and middle school and all that stuff. But no, he's always been supportive of my music as well. He's proud of me.
Yeah, excellent. I think that really helps. I mean, there's plenty of people out there who that wasn't the case.
Right, absolutely.
But I'd say that, more often than not, there's a relatively supportive kind of family in the background of a lot of the musicians that we've had on the show.
Yeah.
Because it's, it's just helpful. I know that all of the experiences I had when I was growing up definitely turned me into the musician I am today, or the choirs I had to be in at school and stuff, even though I hated them at this time,
Yeah, it's not fun at the time, but then you realize how like important it is for your foundation,
Yeah, exactly. Were you involved in any of that kind of school stuff that you have to do?
Yeah, I did. I did like same as you. I did like choir. I played in band. I played trumpet for a little while. I'm terrible at it, so it was a good thing that I got out of that one. But I always played piano, and then kind of like in my early teenage years, I picked up guitar and then never put it down. And that was just that was my go-to after that. But
yeah, nice.
It's kind of amazing how many horn high school horn players we've had on the show that put it down, picked up guitar, and never turned back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't for me.
It happens a lot more often than you think it does. Yeah,
I think that despite the fact that horns are, you sort of grow into an appreciation of them as you get older. There's something a bit nerdy about them when you're a kid, and you just like you want to rock, don't you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, horn players out there are gonna hate me for this, but when I was in middle school playing it, me and my brother would like load like grapes into them and just try to launch them out of the trumpet. It was more like that kind of thing than it was like like an instrument sort of thing. But. Yeah. That's where I got stuck in when I was playing band. So I tried it, gave it a whirl.
That's awesome. What were some of your early musical influences, would you say, in terms of bands that you got into when you were young?
Sure. I mean, what I listened to is like just on the way here, I was listening to Volbeat and Busta Rhymes and like Red Hot Chili Peppers. So I'm all over the spectrum when it comes to like that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
I guess I really started getting into guitar the first time I heard Avenged Sevenfold. Like,
okay.
Just because I really liked the way like he was so fast on the strings.
Oh my
God!
And,
like just the way it's his playing style and the emotion he puts into like his solos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's like I think what really like took it up a level for me initially was Sing Gates from Avenged.
Yeah, he's amazing. Unbelievable.
But then I really like the singer-songwriter, so artists like Amos Lee, J.P. Cooper, even like more popular Ed Sheeran. artists like that.
Yeah, cool. Good stuff. You reminded me of a story when you were saying that you broke your finger and you got booted out of the band. I was so right before a month-long tour, right, with this band I was in the UK called Sonic Boom 6, who I've been actually nicely invited to do some more recording with now. It was 2 days before the tour, and this was in my, shall we say, less sober days. Mm-hmm. And in an argument with someone, I punched a wall and I broke my finger. Mm-hmm. And I had 2 days to find someone to stand behind me and play the guitar. It was my buddy Ollie. So Ollie, if you're listening to this, thank you so much. You saved my life. But because I was like a guitarist and also kind of vocalist, MC and stuff. Mm-hmm. So there I was for a whole month with I had a cast and I had like a melodica taped to the cast, right? Uh-huh. Like trying to be cool with a stupid cast on. It was a real lesson in humility, I tell you. It was like a month of just getting constant ribbing. And I guess testament to them that they didn't kick me out of the band.
I didn't share the same luck, unfortunately. But if they could see me now,
Exactly, man.
But
do you have a writing process?
Honestly, like yes and no. I feel like it almost changes every time.
Right.
Based on what I'm working with, who I'm working with. There's times where maybe I just write, like just lyrically something that I'm really keen on, and then I'll have my engineer, put something together that he kind of thinks like fits that vibe or that mood or emotion. So we've gone that way. There's been times where I've I heard something that, like an example, the song that I'm releasing next week. Was one where I just heard the instrumental and I was like, I have to have that one. Like, I'm going to write to that one.
Okay, that's
no
cool.
questions asked.
Yeah. Who made that? Was it?
It was my engineer. Yeah,
nice.
the one at the studio. But
yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
I think that it's one of those questions where most people reply like that. They're like, well, it could be one of a number of things. Mm-hmm. But mine always generally starts with like a little kernel of an idea. Mm-hmm. Pretty much always, anyway. Every now and again, there'll be someone will come. Well, Hector's been coming with chords lately, and I've been writing over that, which has been pretty fun. But that's kind of new for me. Like my general thing is that I have a whole load of stuff sitting in the back of my head, kind of waiting to be used, or on my phone, and then it'll kind of coalesce at a certain point into like a little kernel of an idea, and I'll be like, oh, there it is,
I'm right there with you. I have thousands of like lyric ideas, melody ideas, like just saved in my notes on my phone or in my voice memos.
It's fun. Just full of stuff.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, 90% of them are garbage, but I feel like I kind of follow that David Bowie approach of like. David Bowie, approach of... I don't know why, but people in the south of England say David Bowie. I have no idea why, because it's not his name. It's not even what he called himself. Right. Okay, everyone calls him that. It's really weird. But, his approach of just throw enough stuff at the wall and see what sticks kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's my vibe with it. And actually, something I was reading the other day about that was... one of the things that he used to do, and Kurt Cobain used to do, actually, was like this kind of cut and paste, like Dada approach to like lyric writing, where you write a bunch of sentences, not necessarily rhyming, and then you cut them up on a piece of paper and just rearrange them. Yeah. To make it a little bit more ambiguous and a little bit more poetic and interesting. And I've yet to try that because I read it about 2 weeks ago, but I'm going to give that one a shot.
I think my writing style kind of caters to that in a way, because when I write lyrics, a lot of times like I'm not worried about the rhyme scheme or like what's exactly going where, but I like to tell stories in my music. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll write what I want to be, what to be told. Yeah. And then kind of like, okay, now how do I make that poetic, or how do I make that, rhythmic or melodic, or, that kind of thing, and then kind of start picking apart the pieces of the song and going from there.
How important is it to you that the song retains its original idea? Like, is it more important to you that the song is good or that the idea is conveyed?
That's a tough question, actually. I think it's a little bit of both. I hate to sound so generic with that answer, no. But I think as musicians, we're all in our heads a little bit, in the same respect, and sometimes maybe something that you might have thought would have been, the right way to do it, or might not necessarily be that way. When you have when you're collabing like I do with my engineer, and I have a couple other, like my buddy Colton Elliott, he writes with me sometimes. We kind of like bounce ideas off of each other. And sometimes I'm like, I never thought about doing it that way. And like, I like this. This is cool. Like, let's try this out.
Yeah.
But
I often find that when I have an idea for a vibe of a song, but not a real kind of underlying meaning behind it, usually ends up not very good. I don't know why, and it's not the same with everyone, because some people can just kind of imagine things out of thin air and write stories like that. But for me, if there's not something that means a lot to me in it, I tend to kind of I don't know, I tend to lose interest in it pretty quickly. It has to have some kind of some
substance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then I just try and kind of point everything towards amplifying that, I guess. It's my general approach. So do you, on your instrument, do you still practice like kind of on your own?
Admittedly, not as often as I as I should.
Right.
But no, I mean I still play often.
Yeah.
Do
you ever do like any kind of like exercises or anything, or is it more just kind of like learning songs?
Yeah, I watch this guy that I love. He's from Nashville, and he's built at this point like his own little online like teaching program. But he has such good. Why am I having such a hard time thinking of his name right now? Tyler Lawson is his name.
Okay, cool.
But he runs Guitar Super System. It's like an online platform. It's inexpensive, and it's like he's got some really good stuff on there, especially for like novice and like beginner guitar players.
Yeah, nice.
So if anybody wants to get in, I would recommend him for doing that.
Tyler Lawson, good to know.
But I watch a lot of his stuff, and like nice. Every once in a while, like noodle around with some of his exercises and stuff, and like he has a bunch of like good warm up stuff for like pre-gigging, that kind of like those kind of things.
Yeah.
But
that's where I'm getting most of my. Every now and again, I'll have a guitar lesson with someone partially because I think as a teacher, it's good to see how someone else teaches, and the other reason is. Sometimes I just get a little bit set in my ways, and it's nice to get out of that. But then the other thing is, the same. It's like YouTube,
Yeah.
And we say this a lot on here, but it's just and everyone kind of knows it, but it's just so true. Is that there's just a ton of great stuff on YouTube.
Yeah. You can essentially go to college on YouTube these
days.
YouTube University.
Yeah, exactly. So you run a studio, don't you?
I do,
in Boca? Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about Deja Vu Records?
Yeah, absolutely. So Colton, who I mentioned earlier, who writes with me, we're partners in owning that place. He's a recording artist as well. He's a singer, and we were working at a different studio, kind of like paying a bunch of money for this. And his background's in general contracting, and he goes, "I could build this."
Right. Yeah.
And I was like. Kind of like, all right, yeah, sure, we can build this, and then sure enough, we did it. We bought like kind of like a warehouse industrial kind of spot.
Nice.
It was gutted. There's nothing in there. We ran all the electric. We ran, the plumbing, the HVAC, everything. Like, and, it made it our home there.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you running in there in terms of like, is it? Are you doing it on a Mac, or are you using Pro Tools or?
So our engineer. We started with Pro Tools. That's what when I went to college for music and stuff. I always. Like Pro Tools was like the industry standard, so that's what we did. But our engineer runs Ableton.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Which that's cool. He's just very efficient in it. So I'm not trying to fix something that's not broke with him.
No, I get it.
Sure.
I mean, I'm Logic since there was no numbers after the word. Like, so there's literally no point in me using anything else.
Right.
I kind of, I just know how to use it so well. For some reason, when I was learning all this, Cubase was like the big one, and
Cubase.
Yeah, I always struggle with that a little bit. I don't know why. But then my buddy kind of sat me down, and I'm a bit kind of like ADD a little bit. Like I find it difficult to concentrate sometimes, and so I was quite lucky because I was in a shared house with this guy Robbie Record. Amazing name for somebody who makes music, and and he just was really patient with me and took me through it, and ever since then I've known how to use it. So I'm endlessly grateful for that. So you went to school for music?
Yeah, but not so much for the in the box like production stuff. I went to school for like live sound engineering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a classical music. Well, a music degree, but it was primarily classical. I remember you saying earlier before we were recording that you'd done some sound engineering on the road before, is that right?
Yeah. So, funny enough, the same guy who, when we met J-Rock and worked in his studio, that same guy, he started a band with a couple other artists called Radical Something. They were a West Coast-based band. Kind of like, it was like fun, like summer vibes sort of music.
Sure.
Really, really fun music. And initially I was just running around with them, like doing whatever they needed to do and playing guitar for them here and there or whatever. And as they started to grow as a band, they're like, hey, like, would you run sound for us? Or, you know, would you like either in a monitor world or like front of house, whatever. And it kind of became this thing where like I just repeatedly started going on the road with them, and kind of like, and initially I was like kind of like the band bitch, if you will, like looking all their gear around and all that stuff. You know, I had to earn my stripes. Yeah. But then it became this thing where I was, you know, running monitors or running front of house for them, and
nice.
And they took me. I went all over the country with them. We toured with Modest Yahoo. We've toured with Cruella. We've toured with.
Was it kind of like that? Was it sort of Cali reggae type?
Yeah, very like definitely that reggae sort of vibe with a little like pop element. But
yeah, sure. Yeah. Good stuff, man. You got any interesting stories from the road?
I'll give you the less explicit version of this one. I got a really funny story that happened in Seattle. So we had a really crap show that night. I don't know. It's one of those like anything that could have went wrong just went wrong and even beyond. You know,
sure,
like it was one of those bad nights. Everybody was kind of in a funk. Like nobody really wanted to go out and do the the typical like after show party kind of vibe.
Yeah. How old are you? All you guys at this point? In your 20s?
Yeah, like mid to late 20s with all of us. I think I was probably around like 25, 26. Yeah.
So there's a lot of after show at that age. I remember.
Yeah. But yeah. So I think I ended up getting pizza with one of the guys, and we all just were hanging on the bus, and we're just kind of calling it a night. I stepped outside to smoke a cigarette. And our tour manager, he never drank, like never ever drank. And this one night, I guess he was having a rough night too with everything that happened. And he went out drinking. So he comes back, and I see him like walking. He's stumbling over to the bus, and he's like, "I can't find Randy." Randy was the drummer. And I'm like, "What do you mean you can't find Randy?" He's like, "Yeah, we went out. We were at the strip club and blah blah blah." And he's like, "I can't find him. I don't know where he is." And I'm like, "All right." So it's like, "All right, like I'm sober. Like let's go. Let's go figure out where this drummer is before we leave him in Seattle. You know?"
Yeah, for real.
And so we get to the club, and I'm looking all over the place. He's sitting like right in front, like it's like plain view. I'm like, "Dude, he's right there, man." Like,
oh man.
So whatever. I'm like, "Well, we're here, so like I'll hang out for a bit, Yeah. And we're hanging out in the club, and this girl comes up and sits next to me. She was working there, and she's like, "Hey, would you just sit next to me and talk to me? Do you see those guys over there? Like, I really don't want to go back and talk to them. And my shift is up in like 10, 15 minutes. So if you can just keep their attention off of me for that amount of time, like I would really appreciate it." I'm like, "Yeah, cool, whatever." So we start talking. She's super intelligent. She was like in college and studying law or whatever she was doing. And
working her way through medical
school. Yeah, basically.
They all are.
So we're hitting it off. I'm having a couple beers or whatever, and we're talking about the bus. She's like, "Oh, you're like a band, like you're with a band." I'm like, "Yeah. We're going to Bend, Oregon tomorrow." And so she was like, "Can I see the bus?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." So I take her back, and we're hanging out. We're drinking on the bus a little bit more. And then one thing led to another. I'll leave that part out of it. But I wake up the next morning in Bend, Oregon. I roll over, and like I don't know if you've been in a tour bus before. I'm sure you have, but they're like coffins. So like there's not much wiggle room as far as rolling over. And I feel that someone's in the bunk with me. We took this poor girl. She passed out in my bunk. We took this poor girl all the way from Seattle to Bend, Oregon.
Oh my god!
Oh my word! Yeah. What happened?
How'd she get back?
So we got off. we got off, and started getting like set up for the show and everything. There was a bus stop nearby, and she was like, I think I'm just gonna do that." I was like, but she was so cool about it. Like it wasn't like she was upset about it at all. She's like, "No, now when I get back to Seattle in like 6 hours, she's like, I get to tell all my friends that I was like on a tour bus with a rock band. Like she was so excited.
It's a very rock and roll story.
She was a really nice girl. We stayed in contact even after like the fact that we were friends on Facebook and shit.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
So, I noticed you had like quite a lot of listens and stuff like that, and I was quite impressed by that. And we got to talking earlier about sort of some of your strategies to sort of boost your engagement and stuff like that. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So early on, when I didn't know what I was doing, because nobody ever really does at the beginning.
Yeah.
I sought out like a couple of companies that like promised, organic, like Spotify or like organic, Instagram, whatever, followers, likes, posts, whatever, that kind of thing. And they seemed like they were fairly reputable to my knowledge at the time. So I went with a couple of those, but I noticed very early on into like attacking it that way that, oh yeah, sure. So you got like 10K followers, but your videos are getting like, 2 likes or 3 likes because nobody cares, they're all bots. So I stopped using programs like that. And, I read from this guy Ari Herstand a lot, who always just has like really great him and Damian Keys. They always have like really good, just like for indie artists that are trying to like, you know, build a bigger following or all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I'll let them teach because I'm not a teacher by any means. But I started following, like, one of the things I use is Submit Hub, which is, like, that's been around for forever. Like, the website will never update. It's, like, the oldest looking thing you've ever seen. But but it's cool because, like, all of these, like, big blogs, like, will go on the site and, like, sample your music and be like, hey, like, I think this is good. Maybe I'll write about you for your release. And, like, through that, you kind of, like, I feel like that grows it more organically than, you know, just buying followers. You know?
Yeah, for real. And, you know, it's something that we could definitely do more of. And, you know, I'm definitely going to go and check out Submit Hub. I don't know why I haven't done already, but it sounds great. Yeah,
they Submit Hub got me on one of, like, for my first release, got me on a blog called Glastonbury? Glass House. But they had like kind of like an online music competition for indie artists.
Right.
Where they would take, like, I think it was 16 or something like that, artists, and it was like a voting, almost like kind of like March Madness kind of style bracket contest with these artists, like who had the better song or whatever. And I ended up making it to the top 4 with them, with my song. And I think that helped out a lot is in growing that first one and kind of like started like, oh, this is who Stevie Stubborn is. Like, let's, you know, I want to hear more about him kind of thing, you know? Yeah,
man. Okay, cool. Talking about Stevie Stubborn, how did the name come about?
So my buddy Josh, he's a rapper, Jay Savvy. We were in the studio one time, and we've been working on a side project for a couple months now, and I've done music with him for years now, just at different studios and, you know, whatever else. But really good friend of mine. But we just weren't getting, you know, head to head on this idea that he wanted to do for this song. And I was like, no, man, absolutely not. Like, that's this is a non-negotiable for me. I'm not doing this way. Right, and he said something pertaining to, oh man, Stevie Stubborn on this one. And it just like it clicked. You know? And I was like, Stevie Stubborn. I was like, I like that. And then I'm like, well, you know, cause stubborn because, like, I never gave up on my music, you know. But that's where it really stems from. It was my buddy Savvy. Yeah, that's where I got the name.
I really like it because of just the kind of the ska element of it, and Stubborn All Stars and all that stuff. And I just, when I saw it, I was like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I like the word stubborn.
Appreciate that.
I wrote a song called Stubborn as a Mule. I'm just a fan of the word.
Yeah, it's a good word. It's a good word.
Definitely, yeah. Okay, so that's awesome. Owning a studio, how has that been helpful in terms of your own music, would you say?
Oh, immensely. Just because, you know, any independent artist will tell you, studio time's expensive, man.
For sure.
Wherever you go. And this is kind of like, you know, though we still got bills to pay over there, like, this has kind of opened up a door for me to kind of have the freedom to not only record whenever I want, but at a price point that doesn't, you know, hurt my wallet that much, you know.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
And so yeah, like and because of such, I get more practice. I get to run through things. I get to try more ideas more often because I'm not worried about a clock. You know, I can
for sure.
I can stay in there for hours just by myself if I want to, and just kind of noodle around with stuff. And
yeah. Heard you had a bit of a water accident.
Yeah, I should have changed my stage name to Scuba Steve after that one. We had like 6 inches of water in there, so we were out of commission for when that tropical storm hit. It just like knocked us out in our area. It was my neighbors in the neighboring unit, and the one to, you know, on both sides they got hit with it really bad too.
Right.
Thankfully, you know, everything's getting covered and repaired. It's been a process of kind of like rebuilding now at this point.
Gotcha.
We had to rip out all the floors. It was a whole thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you have a lot of gear damage and stuff?
Not a ton of gear, but there was some more of our. It was like our live gear stuff. Like, we lost like 2 PA speakers that were happened to be on the ground at the time. A bass, like a bass monitor too.
Right. Is there any kind of preventative measures that you can take in future? Like, what would you even do? Like, build a little wall?
So
or something
like that? It's funny enough. We've actually been on the leasing company to. I don't even know if I should be saying this. We'd been on them for about like almost 2 years now. About like, because every time it would rain really heavy, never as bad as it was this past time, but, you know, you get a little bit of water in through the front door and through the bay door. And, you know, we were always like, hey, this is a problem. Like, this is going to turn into a problem. And sure enough, it was a problem, you know?
Yeah.
So they've taken now, like, they've sealed our whole bay door. They resealed the whole bay door.
Great.
Like, one of our windows wasn't sealed properly. They resealed that. They put, like, storm guards in the front door and everything.
Nice.
So we should be okay now.
I think it's human nature to have to learn things the hard way. I know that's how it is with me, and it seems to be with a lot of people.
They were just stubborn.
With the callback. So in terms of like getting people into your studio. Have you been busy? Like, how have you been
Well,
recording?
we were up until the flood. Yeah,
Yeah, sure,
yeah. No, we were. A lot of it was word of mouth at first.
Right.
You know, we'd taken care of a couple of our buddies who did music first, just kind of like test the waters and see like how everything was gonna, you know, how things would sound first of all.
Yeah.
What treatments we need to do to fix things to make it like, you know, to make it a real deal studio.
Sure.
Like
Yeah,
have
sure.
people enjoy being in there.
Sure, sound treatment.
Yeah, yeah.
Else,
Oh, yeah. We spent a whole another $3,000 on sound treatment for that place just because a lot of ours it got really brittle in the with the water and stuff.
Did you have anyone come and consult on that, or did you just do a lot of reading kind of thing?
A lot of reading. Colton, he's my buddy who owns the studio with me. He's like the second, like, if he has the slightest inclination of not knowing about something, he will find out about it like within minutes of not knowing it. So
Yeah, that's amazing.
he's just one of those kind of kids, you know. So
yeah.
And we also Tyler, the engineer, has some kind of software where we would put like different microphones in the room, and you run it, and it kind of like tells you where your weak points in the room are.
Oh, great.
Like, it's off of like an audio kind of thing, but
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it. I'm having a senior moment right now, but I did a thing like that with my room. It came with a microphone, and you just test the room, and it just calibrates the speakers. It's really, really cool.
We had a piece of gear in a band I was in years ago. A sonic maximizer, I think it was called.
Okay.
And you would hook up a microphone to it. You'd go play a live at a bar or whatever, and you'd hook up a microphone to it, and it would tell you like which frequencies on your equalizer to change and move to optimize like the room for no feedback and optimal sound and everything. It was pretty cool.
It takes all the guesswork out of stuff like
it was a really cool piece of equipment, but I don't think it was cheap though.
Yeah, I believe it.
Most music stuff isn't.
Yeah,
exactly.
Been learning that.
I feel like the people who sell all this stuff to us know that, because they just know that we're going to want it. It doesn't matter how much.
Sure.
Especially with look at Apple
price,
look at Apple and how expensive their computers are. It's because they know they're selling to creatives, and they just want it, and they'll just find the money.
It's the age old. What is it? Work smarter, not harder. I mean, why would I go and build 1,000 computers and sell them for $20 when I can build 20 computers and sell them for $1,000? I mean,
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of sense in it, but I just think I know that I'm like this, where if there's something that comes out and it just tickles my fancy, I won't be able to think about anything else. It's going to like plague me until I end up with it.
Yeah, that is a
That's
true
a little
story.
bit of a musician's problem.
No, that is a Ben problem. That is not a musician problem. That is a Ben problem.
Oh, that's funny. So are you thinking of taking your show on the road? Is that something that
I think eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I really just stopped doing the live stuff because COVID happened. When I was running sound for stuff, and now that I have this whole new platform of making my own music, like
how long has this been going on? You making your own music?
Really, like we built the studio, and then I wasn't like I do like guitar records for guitar tracks, like studio musician work for like Colt or like whoever else was in the studio, and stuff like that. And one day I was singing backup vocals on a track, and Tyler was like, "Dude, you actually sound pretty good." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah. Why don't you try, like, you have a studio, like, make a song, dude."
Yeah,
so we did, and Tough Love happened, and
that's cool. So was this kind of at the beginning of the pandemic or stuff?
Yeah, well, it was kind of towards the tail end. So, like, when we finished the construction on the studio on March 17th, which is when everything shut down. It was like the day we finished the studio, we were like, oh, 6, and now we can't take any clients. but yeah. So then we had a lot of downtime in that where, like, we could still go in there and work.
Sure.
And, like, we weren't necessarily taking clients, but, like, we could go and screw around and kind of like get everything perfect in there, and not only for us but for our clients as well. But
how did you kind of find your sound with that kind of like EDM-y kind of electro pop type of a thing? What did you have any sort of people that you were emulating, or did it just kind of organically happen?
I mean, kind of. I've always loved pop music. Me and Michael Jackson have the same birthday. But yeah, so I've always been drawn to just like that kind of like those like pop ballad and pop melodies and like big vocals and that kind of like that kind of thing, and it just fits well with those like kind of EDM rhythm, music.
Do you listen to like a lot of EDM? Do you have like
surprisingly no, like I really don't. Like Tyler blows me out of the water with his like arsenal of like the kind of the stuff that he listens to, and I really don't listen to it that much, but I like it, I enjoy it, and I like making it. It's fun to make for me.
Yeah.
But
it was a definite period in my life prior to playing in a band is all I cared about pretty much in the entire world was drum and bass. That was it. I was just obsessed with it. I spent years trying to make it. I was never that good at it. I've made a few all right tunes. Yeah. And then I ended up playing in this sort of punk band, but then sort of infusing it a little bit like you with all these kind of, you know, like there was tons of breaks in it and stuff like that and bass lines and stuff that I was borrowing from the electronic music I was listening to. So that kind of fusion of stuff like that is something I'm definitely a big fan of as well. Yeah, it's my whole thing, man. So I guess at this point it'll be, you know what? Have you got any future plans? What's coming up?
So next Friday I'm dropping my new single, "Feel the Light."
Yeah,
I'm really excited about that one. To be honest, like as a solo artist, so to speak, it's my favorite piece of music that I've worked on so far.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
So that adds to the excitement, of course. We also shot a really beautiful music video to go along with it. Yeah.
Oh, cool. What was that all about? How did that happen? And who did you do it with?
Kind of a sad story, honestly, but well, this part's not sad, but we'll get to that. So my buddy who I did the Tenacious D stuff with in Halloween this past year.
Oh yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, so we had this idea. I always like the scene when he plays that lick. You know that check this lick, it's fucking tasty, like that.
Yeah,
and he makes that riff. So I was just gonna do like a TikTok almost of just me kind of dressed in like devil attire and like ripping the lick. And I got talking to my buddy Lance, who runs Dragos Cinematics, who's the company I work with for all my film and stuff. Yeah. And photography.
What are they called again? I missed that.
Dragos Cinematics.
Okay.
And he's like, dude, why don't we just do this whole scene?
Yeah.
And I was like, it's ambitious, but I mean, we can certainly give it a whirl. And it actually ended up coming out pretty cool. It was a fun experience, and I had a little bit of a fanboy moment, like after we dropped it, like during Halloween. Kyle Gass, not on my personal page, but on a Tenacious D fan page, actually commented like, "Oh, this is awesome," or something, something along those lines. I was just like, "Oh man, like,
that's amazing,
so cool!" You know?
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Was it for anything in particular? Was it for like? Did you just do it for fun?
Me and Tyler both just loved Tenacious D. Like we were talking about how we used to watch Pick of Destiny when we were like growing up and stuff. And I used to know how to play every single song on guitar, like that's every single one. And we just thought it was a fun thing to do. And that's pretty much it. We didn't really expect anything out of it, you know. But like it was just like, hey, it's Halloween, let's do something cool, you know.
So
like,
it's this company who did the video.
They did the video for it, yeah. And they also just recently shot the Feel the Light video as well.
Yeah, cool. So what? How did you do the Feel the Light video? What was that about?
So, like 2 weeks prior to shooting, I think it was about a week or 2 weeks prior to shooing. Unfortunately, two close buddies of mine passed away from just, you know, I'm not going to get into that part, but
yeah, I could probably guess.
Yeah. But and I was just like, you know, I didn't write the song about that because I didn't know that was going to happen. But it's fitting. Like if you listen to the lyrics, it's fitting for like being stuck and like not knowing how to get out, and it's like the trying to like find the light and get out and get away from these things that are, you know, bringing you, you know, pulling you down and stuff like that. And I kind of like, it was almost like kind of like to honor them a little bit the way we shot the video.
Oh, really?
Like in a way, yeah.
Okay, that's lovely. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I guess at this point, it'd be a great time to you've worked up an acoustic version of it, haven't you?
Yeah. We'll see how that goes, because when you guys hear the the real song, it's definitely not acoustic, but
because I was this all came together with you coming on a little bit sort of last minute, because someone we were meant to have on dropped out right around kind of the same time that Andy had got in touch with me about you coming on the podcast, and I was like, oh right, it's Kismet, let's just do it.
It was meant to be, man.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I reached out to you and you said you could do it. And then I was like, do you want to do an acoustic song? You were like, maybe. Let me have a think about that. Yeah. And then, you were texting me, you're like, okay, I think I got this. And you put it together. So, all right, let's hear it.
Yeah, love to.
Can you feel the light? I've been waking up, feeling like I'm stuck, and I don't know where to find the light again. I've been so alone, nobody was home, and I don't know how to get out of the way. Oh, how strange, my darkest day, my darkest day still feels the same if I'm brave. Can you feel it's fun together, always broken, take my wounds and cut them open, hoping that you notice that I'm coping, but I'm focused on the light that's always showing. It's my moment, it's my moment. Can you feel the light? Can you feel the light? It's fun together, always broken, take my wounds and cut them open, hoping that you notice that I'm coping, but I'm focused on the light that's always showing. It's my moment, I'm singing, yeah, 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 yeah. Can you feel the light?
561 Music is brought to you by Handlebars Bar and Grill. It's a biker bar in Tequesta. It's been there for a long time. It was used to be called Judy's. It's a little yellow building on US 1. If you're heading north out of Jupiter on US 1, you'll see it on your right. And it's the bones of it are a biker bar, but obviously, you know, anyone can come. There's plenty of parking. So if you're interested in bikes and classic cars and stuff like that, it's a cool spot because there's a bike night every second Thursday of the month. And we've been doing a jam every fourth Sunday of the month. There's a little bit of a problem with the music at the moment. So if anyone out there has any connections to the village of Tequesta Council and can help us with that, we would really appreciate it because it's being a bit problematic. But the place is great with or without live music, and we're going to get it sorted, so don't worry too much about that. We've got a whole load of great beers on tap, and Bernsey, who does the food, is a real character. You got to see him to believe him. You got to come down there and check it out, and the food's great. And yeah, it's a good hang. It's right there on the side of the road, so if you're taking your bike out for a Saturday or Sunday ride, it's a perfect little stop off. You can stop off, have a beer and a burger, and then carry on your way. It's one of those kind of like side of the road, like biker bar type places with an outside area where you can sit and chill. And we would very much appreciate your custom. My father-in-law took it over, and he's been doing a great job. So come and check it out. That's Handlebars Bar and Grill in Tequesta.
Our next sponsor is Live Music Community. It's the studio and music school that we are currently in and currently recording. It is a fantastic school for kids and adults. And the big thing we want to push right now with them is this Give and Let Give event. It's on Sunday, July 10th from 2 to 4 p.m. Ben and myself, Hector, are going to be there. Basically, the way it works is you donate some unused music gear. That is your entrance fee to get in. If you're an adult, if you're a child, you can come in for free, and there's nothing to pay at the door.
Yeah,
and so
all those things on the screen there are things we're giving away.
Yeah, I mean, all those things are available, and so the idea is that you come in and it is a gear swap. You can ideally, we would love it if you just came in and donated stuff, so these kids would all have some amazing gear to take home. But it is a gear swap, so you just bring a piece of unused gear, and if you see something you need, you can swap it out, and it doesn't have to be a fair trade. So that being said, we have a ton of gear here, and as you can see on the screen, we got guitars, we got bass cabinets, we have PA equipment, we've got
that tasty djembe there.
Yeah, we all sorts of stuff, and so it's an event basically to get gear into these kids' hands, and it's just it's an amazing event. This is our third one, and the first two were amazing.
They really were. It's so nice to see the smiles on the kids' faces when they're walking away with stuff that they need, and it's just a great way to redistribute stuff that's not being used. I mean, it just works so well. And I think the thing that I like about it the most is that there's no ulterior motive. It's just it's just a good thing, literally. You bring stuff, and then people who need it take it. That's it.
Yeah, and the best part about it is, the kids come in, they check out the gear, they they see something they need, whether it's a pedal or a guitar or a cabinet or whatever it is. We're a music school, but we're also a music studio, and so they could literally plug the stuff in and test it out right here. And yourself, myself, Justin, there's any number of people here that can help them test it out and check it out and make sure everything's cool and exactly what they need, and get them hooked up with exactly what they need to kind of complete their ensemble. But I mean, the basic goal of this whole thing is just get music gear into kids' hands, and and then they can use that stuff.
It was Justin's idea, and it's a fantastic idea. I just think it's a great event. So if you can make it down, come down.
Yeah, Sunday, July 10th from 2 to 4 p.m. Live Music Community is on the corner of Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard in Palm Beach Gardens.
Yeah, it's in the corner of the plaza. So if you see a Papa John's, you're very close.
Yeah, the northwest corner.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
All right. So this next sponsor we have is Oasis Root Kava Bar, and it is a fantastic Kava bar on Indiantown Rd in Sea Grape Square, and it's a really cool spot. It's run by my friend Jim, who I've known now for a couple of years. He's a cool guy, and he very kindly sponsors the podcast, allows us to do this because it's we have to spend some money to put this thing on. We're not making any money out of it. It just helps us tick over, basically. So we really, really appreciate it. And if you don't know anything about Kava, it's a Polynesian root that they grind into a powder and then mix with water. It's been around in Polynesia for hundreds, maybe thousands of years, and in the US for probably 15. There's a lot of different vibes of Kava bars. Some of them are more like a club, but Oasis Root is just a super chill kind of cafe environment, and it's nice and relaxing in there. There's a couple of TVs up there. You could bring your laptop and do some work, maybe. It's always a pretty relaxed atmosphere. Later on in the evening, it gets a bit busier and a bit more rowdy, but and they have they do a poker night in there and stuff. But in the day, it's it's pretty much the same as a coffee house. It's a nice place to just share ideas and chat, and if you don't drink, it's a cool place to go because no one's drunk, but it still has a little bit of the atmosphere of a bar if that's something that's missing in your life and you want to go and just hang out somewhere. It's great. So go and check it out. Oasis Root Kava Bar on Indiantown Rd in Sea Grape Square. That was a great rendition. We really enjoyed it.
Thanks so much, man.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I was a little nervous trying to put that one together in such a short amount of time, but
no, it's fantastic.
Yeah, so the actual song doesn't release until
next Friday.
Next week, Friday, the 24th?
The 24th, yep.
Okay, so this was the acoustic world premiere
preview
of the song. I love it. Right here first on 561 Music.
You heard it here first, guys. You heard it here
That's
first.
right. So we already kind of discussed it a little bit, but could you give us a little bit more of an idea about the motivations behind the lyrics and stuff like that?
In that song specifically, or just in general?
In that song.
I mean, it really was. It was just, I've dealt with my own trials and tribulations too, where whether that be alcohol related or drug related here and there in the past, and I've luckily found my way out of it.
Yeah.
But
not easy, but
yeah. But I know what it's like to be there too. So it's And I think it's Tyler always makes fun of me. Not really makes fun of me, but you know what I mean. He's like, yeah, you have these these beats that are like so happy and like uplifting and high energy, and then your lyrics make you want to cry and stuff.
Like that's like my whole songwriting approach is happy chords and like dark lyrics. Yeah.
That's all the band songs.
Yeah. So
no, it was, so a lot of that, and then just the added the loss of my friends recently. That was just like that was kind of like the icing on the cake, but not the good cake, But,
for sure. Yeah.
But
just added a little bit of kind of meaning and weight to the whole thing.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Totally.
I guess in a way it's a nice that you could have some kind of a tribute for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
So we like to talk about people's gear on this show. I always think it's interesting for music nerds out there. We asked you to take a couple of pictures of some of your gear. Why don't we get something up on the screen there? What have we got in here? Can you tell us?
Those are a few of my guitars. I'm kind of a collector like you, from what it sounds like. Yeah, I got quite a bit. But so the Fender Jazz Bass, Ibanez RG. That's an '87 reissue.
Nice.
Gibson Les Paul Studio.
Perfect.
Gretsch Hollow Body, and then Taylor and the Washburn. The Washburn is actually the one I played.
Oh, nice. Is this all of this stuff? Do you let people use it? When
Yeah. I'm not stingy. I'll let people use my stuff for sure.
That's cool. Do you have a favorite among them?
Favorite? I'm really partial to Les Paul only because my dad got that. It was like my first really nice guitar. My dad got it for me for a Christmas present years ago.
They're really useful in recording too for that thickness,
I don't much love playing live with it, just because it's a heavy, and like if you're playing a long set, it's it'll get you on your shoulder a little bit.
No,
better.
totally. I feel like they're called studio for a reason. No, they're called studio just because they're not like the prettiest ones, isn't it?
Right.
It still has the tone, but it's like a little bit more workmanlike. But that's cool. Yeah, they are beautiful guitars. I've never owned a Les Paul. That's something that I've always wanted to own. So
they play really nice, man.
Yeah, man. What else have we got up here?
I think just my rig now, Which
cool.
I could have sent you a better picture. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's just it's one of the newer Marshall, combo head and cabinet.
Yeah, what's the head? What model is it?
DS 10 is it? Okay. Off the top of my head.
I have a JCM 2000 that I've been carting around for 25 years. I love that thing. Yeah, I know.
No, it sounds amazing though. It's like
I'm all about Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people will be like, oh, it's kind of glassy or whatever. It's not as dense as necessarily a Messer or something like that. But I like that. And my favorite thing on Marshalls is that when you get that perfect, very slightly dirty clean.
Oh yeah, love that. I love that. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. That's what I'm all about, man. I love that stuff.
You can come play that one whenever you want, man.
Man, I come into your studio. There's no two ways about it. I'll wait until you've sorted it out.
So we took our first client today after the Flow Flood. So we're not 100% there yet, but we're at a point now where we can start like having people come back in and use our equipment and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. I feel like as well that going to a studio, it's a very different kind of creative thing than when you're trying to do it all. Because one of the things that I didn't ask you about before, but I wondered about is, do you ever feel like you get a little bit, because you're recording it basically yourself with your friend, do you ever feel like you get a bit too close to it and kind of to the point where...
I think sometimes that happens, Yeah,
because I feel like that sometimes. I've recorded a lot of stuff myself, but the process of going to a studio is liberating in a sense, because, a lot of the decisions are kind of taken away from you. You can concentrate on actually performing, and it's a whole different feeling.
So some of the really rewarding stuff that happened in owning one, for like owning my own one for the first time, was just like, we've had some people come into a studio for their very first time, like, and never recorded music before, and just like you see that spark in their eyes when they first like hear themselves on a mic, or they first strum that first chord, and they it's being recorded, and they're watching like the creation process, and it's such a special moment that you get to share with these people,
And if you get that like nice studio kind of like bedside manner, if you come in and it feels like a studio.
And we kind of like, in a way, this flood was like a blessing in disguise. It was a way for us to like revisit problems that we were having initially before, and kind of like deja vu 2.0 almost, like, and reopen that way, like fresh start, and like out with the old and with the new.
This place sounds great. If anyone needs anything recorded in style, you should go and check out Deja Vu Studios in Boca Raton.
Absolutely.
So what is next? Have you got any sort of gigs coming up or anything other than the release?
So I don't have anything planned, although I would love to get back into it. I love performing. It's I toured around with bands playing guitars here and there, and like never really so much as like a singer. I've done backing vocals here and there, but now to step in and like try to do like most, the spotlight's all on me now. Like that's a cool challenge for me that I can't wait to.
How would you put it together? Are you thinking of playing with tracks, or are you going to put a band?
I think I'll kind of run it like a hip hop show almost for now.
Yeah, that's
and
what
just until maybe it'll develop like to where at some point I'll have like a live drummer on top of that, or but I'll probably generally run tracks for the most part, even if I add like some live elementation to it.
Have you ever heard of a band called Represent, like Ronnie Size and Represent?
I don't think so, no.
They're this drum and bass act that were kind of big in the 90s and early 2000s, and they had such a great mix of electronic and live.
Mm-hmm.
They had a drummer, but there was also beats going, and they had like a stand-up bass player, but they also had electronic bass lines coming out. They did it so well. I don't know. So if you're looking for any inspiration in terms of how to mix that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they're great. So what have we got coming up, Hector? What's going on?
Friday we were playing at Taco Tiki.
Yeah,
yep.
Taco Tiki
Jensen Beach.
Jensen Beach, yeah. It's a cool spot. We always enjoy playing there. It's
been a while.
It has been a while.
And
the tacos at Taco Tiki are spectacular.
They are spectacular.
Yeah, so if you're
that's the reason I play there. I get paid in tacos. It's a lot of tacos, but I do get paid in tacos. So.
Yeah, and the guy who runs the place, he seems to be a really big music fan because everyone that I think is good and plays a lot of gigs down here seems to play there.
Yeah.
And there's always a fun crowd there. It's one of the very few places. I mean, Killbillies. If you listen to the show, you probably know it. But we play a lot of Irish music and Americana and bluegrass, and that's one of only two places where we've had someone breakdance to our music.
Yes, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, totally. Do you remember that? Because there's that one guy who does it a lot and is quite a good breakdancer.
And then the other guy,
weird guy,
challenged him or something.
Oh, that really like weird guy. You remember
that? Yeah, that was pretty funny.
It was hilarious.
Good times. Totally.
Sounds like it.
All right, and then I'm going on vacation starting Saturday. So are you and James doing anything else this weekend?
So from 5 to 9, I'm playing at Palm Beach Meats in West Palm Beach, which is it's like a charcuterie. They sell very nice meat and very nice cheese, basically, and then they do events. I think it's the anniversary. In fact, I know it's the anniversary. I just can't remember whether it's a year. I think it's a year.
Okay. And this is Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
On Saturday, from 5. I'm playing there. I'm doing a solo set, but more of a rowdy one than I usually do because they were a little bummed that the whole band couldn't make it. So I was like, you know what? I'll bring the feet drums. So I'm gonna go all out.
Nice.
Yeah. And then on Sunday, I am playing at Swank Farms for Father's Day, but I think it's a private party. I'm not 100% sure, but so I've got quite a busy weekend coming.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I will be on vacation, so enjoy.
I shall.
Yeah, I leave Saturday, and I don't come back until the following Saturday morning, sometime afternoon, probably.
Gotcha. Where are you going?
So over to Siesta Key, going to the other coast of Florida, man.
Nice, man. Have a good time.
Nice little villa on the beach there, and
lovely.
And I'm just gonna unplug for a week. I mean,
no, you're not.
I say that, and that's a bold lie. I say I'm going to unplug for a week, but, I just assume, forget my underwear, then forget my laptop. So exactly. I'm not going to unplug for a week.
The drone will be up.
Yeah, I got the travel drone already packed. I mean, it's ready to go.
I knew it.
But I'll be gone for a week. So I won't be with you next week. So you'll be flying solo, hosting solo next week.
I'll be able to hold my own. I'll be all right. Don't worry about me. I got this.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know if you can do this without me.
All right. Well, Stevie Stubborn, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me,
man.
guys. It was awesome. Such a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Put it there.
Yeah,
nice
it was awesome.
You.
And as usual, like and subscribe on our YouTube page. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram.
Please do the things.
Do all the things. Write our phone numbers in bathroom walls and send us money. So whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes. We need money. We have an upcoming tour this summer. We need money.
We do actually. Yeah, Killbillies is going on tour the last 2 weeks of July.
So far we won't get into too much detail because we haven't made the big announcement yet. But so far we have dates in Florida, Georgia, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, and Mississippi.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait.
Yeah, and it's long overdue because we did do Killbillies did do a tour up like 95 basically one time. But a tour of the South just makes sense for this band. You know, it's the kind of music we play.
Well, and I'll tell you, you know, I've reached out to lots and lots and lots of venue owners. You know, and some of them we fit better than others. I mean, you know, there's just some venues you don't fit. You know, certain bands don't fit or whatever. But the ones that have reacted and come back and talked to me and stuff about booking have all been like, you know, they go to our website, they listen to the stuff, and then they come back to me and say, "Oh my God, I love what you guys are doing. I have to have you here." So,
brilliant!
Yeah, so I'm
excited. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I can show you some of these back and forth emails and texts, and the enthusiasm from some of these club owners is actually kind of cool. I mean,
wow! Okay, yeah, that's rad.
I have a feeling some of these guys are going to treat us really well, like rock stars, man. It's going to be fun.
That's awesome.
It's been a while since I've done a tour, and I cannot wait. I really enjoy it. It's just nice to, you know, see the world a bit. And the other thing about touring, which is different than just going on vacation, is when you get somewhere, you have a purpose. And for someone who's, I don't know, a little socially awkward, I find that really enjoyable to have a reason to go somewhere.
It's comforting.
Yeah. And also, people are pleased to see you. You know, they're not out to rob you as a tourist. They're like, oh yeah, you've arrived. You know, so that's nice too. Yeah. And they show you all the best spots and everything's cool. Yeah,
this is gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun. And of course, in the middle of all that, we're gonna spend 3 days recording at Sun Studio. So
that's
awesome. It's gonna be really awesome. Yeah, I can't wait, man. So like, subscribe, and send us money.
Take it easy, guys.